Oh yeah, we are live on YouTube, and I finally found the hiding spot of my sweetheart's Chanel Supreme bong. And I was like, I hid it so that my other lady couldn't steal it off her. My ex, rather. The ex-wife is really good at fucking what's it called? 5-finger dash? 5-finger discounts. She's really good at 5-finger discounts. Apparently she got a little bit of my new lady's clothes too. I was like, well, fine. I gave the new lady her old clothes. I just wanted to see her wearing all of it. I only started wearing some of it. It was nice. I was like, you look really pretty in that.
We'll get to that forecast coming up. But first, here's a look at the high pressure system bringing beautiful sunny skies.
I see you.
New Brunswick. And then clearing
I'm
out
stressed by you, but I need you, babe. Wrote a new song with Nicky Tornado's lyrics last night. I see you. I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you. I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe.
Sun mixed with clouds for the beginning of Saturday, but we are
I see you. Stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you.
Mainland, south coast rather, towards the late day. 18 in Regina, 21 in Saskatoon, Winnipeg, partly cloudy, and 24.
All right, brand new song with Nicky Tornado's lyrics. Oh, this is way out of tune. Okay, forget it. I'll turn that up in a minute. I see you. I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you. I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you. I'm stressed by you, but I need you. Oh, really? You can tell I slept in this shirt. Or did I? I'll get a fresh shirt today, I promise. I'll shave. Oh, it's afternoon show, but it still feels like the morning. I was up pretty late. Had great sleep, though. Dreaming of all these women I've been dating. Holy mother. Tornado Cakes let me loose. I'm like, whoa. I wasn't expecting all that.
We'll be getting at-home COVID testing kits by the end
Time
of
for the first bong of the day. I found my Chloe bong. It's just a nickname. You guys will never know who she is, but I call her Chloe. That's her nickname. And I think we broke up. I hope we didn't. I hope to see her again. She's really sweet. God bless you, honey.
And arrange for the results to be taken back to their labs. And it doesn't have to be a swab of the nose either. Families and young children can either use saliva tests
but her lips have been on this bong, so I'm kissing her right now.
That option is a welcome relief for many parents who last year on
I got my Rasta Party Bowl back, sick.
had to also deal with
So I gave her the Rasta bong, the Rasta zigzag bong.
Common runny nose.
My mind is busy thinking of you and me. You and me. You and me.
Experts say the kids are just another tool in the toolbox.
My mind is busy thinking of you and me. I'm singing a Mickey and Chloe in this song, for sure. Because Nikki was singing it to a couple of guys, for real. I think she was still singing to her ex-husband at that point. She never called him the husband. I don't know why not. He was totally the ex-husband. He's really actually a decent dude. All these Jims and Jameses and Jimmys, most of us are, decent. Some of us are fucked in the head, but fucked over in bed. What?
Quebec is reporting 612 new cases today with no virus-related deaths. 126 people are currently in hospital, 36 of whom are in the ICU. And staying in Quebec, healthcare workers are being told they have to get vaccinated
about you and me.
Or suspended without pay. Employees in both the public and private hospitals have until mid-October to get both doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. And Raquel Fletcher joins us now from Quebec City. Hi, Raquel. So this has become a big debate in the province.
Hi, Candace. Absolutely. It's become a big debate. Health Minister Zimizoom confirmed yesterday for us that about 30,000 healthcare workers are currently unvaccinated. He, of course, is concerned about making sure that vulnerable patients are protected.
Play you guys this new song, man. I love it. It's really sweet. It's full of confusion and pandemic and everything, and her illness this year, which was just insane. Trigeminal and glossopharyngeal neuralgia, the suicide disease. We both wanted to kill ourselves. It was so fucking difficult. Other than birthing children, that was the craziest medical shit, and my head injury, but I don't remember the fucking surgery that well. Well, hold on, I guess I do. Thinking about you and me. Let's turn the microphone on. Nikki's mic. It'll always be her mic. Where's my mic? Where's my mic? I miss you so bad, Nikki. Oh, God, we can't talk now, but God, I miss you. You're a wonderful fucking lady. If anybody ever shit talks to you, I say, yeah, you're a crazy bitch once in a while, but the rest of the time, you're a top fucking notch, quadruple A plus, the best fucking cannabis girlfriend I've ever had. I love you. I'll always love you. So glad you told me that too. I'm glad you found somebody that cares about you.
Yes.
Somebody who wants to take care of you. And I wish I didn't cut you off. I wish I let you talk more the last time we were on the phone. I wish I would have heard you out better. So God bless you, Nikki Tornado. I'll sing this new song with your lyrics. I found in the songbook here.
Canada is among the latest countries added to the
People are like, don't play her music, man. You're gonna have to pay her royalties. I'm like, dude, it is so hard to make royalties in the music business anyway. If we actually made fucking money off the songs, I would gladly give her the royalties. People are so weird about it. They're like, but she's your ex-wife. I'm like, well, yeah. But when she's been your wife, common law or legal, you probably are still going to love her for the rest of your life. So, of course, if I made some money off of her freaking songs or her beautiful freaking prototype welding stuff she showed me how to do, I would gladly give her royalties, man. She could have come after me for a lot more shit. We're split up, and she didn't, because she's not like that. She won't go after you later. She's a good girl like that. Anyway, where's the lyric here? It's pretty sweet. It's the only thing she wrote in this songbook that we got from my mom. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. And then, pretty sure it says silly stray of the day, but it really looks like story or stray. I also like silly song of the day, silly stray of the day, silly story of the day. So I'm not quite sure, and it's really cool because a lot of time in her, she slurs a lot in her recordings, so picking out her lyrics can be super difficult. So she's kind of a hyper, multi-dimensional type songwriter. Very rare to capture her recordings of her song. We lost as many recordings as we got in the last 6 years. Videos, jungle photo shoots, fucking holy shit. Man, we lost a lot of good stuff, but the chaos, man, I just fucking love it. What did my buddy say? His girlfriend, and she's a recovering addict as well. And he said, what is she? And he's like, she's needy, she's bossy, she's sexy, and I love her. And I was like, dude, we like the same type of women. I gotta say that again to remember it. She's needy, she's bossy, and she's sexy. And I love her. Oh man, yeah, this woman I've been dating too, she's totally like that. She's very, very sweet, but she is definitely needy, bossy, and sexy, and I definitely love her. I just want to see her again. I think we broke up, but I just want to see her again and say I'm sorry for my bullshit.
U.S.
I will
President
not
Joe
hold any
Biden
grudges. I wish you well. If you're ever in trouble, please call me. Anyway.
Less troops.
Let's get this guitar plugged in. Let's talk more rock here on Zimizoom TV.
The shot had only been available to those over the age of 18.
My beautiful hemp cone Fender. Oh, I wish I got his freaking Yamaha guitar off of me too, that prick.
The decision comes after months of backlash and growing calls to cut ties.
I know I'm using the same chords over and over. I'm gonna grab myself a capo soon so that I can start differentiating those songs a little bit. But it's been since Salmo last summer, and it's a long fucking story, but man, matching guitars from the same store, Salmo, BC, Weimer, BC. I'm getting messages coming in nice from Seattle right now. That's deadly. My buddy Jesse, super cool guy in Seattle area, Washington State, America. I'm hoping my new buddy VERZILLION tunes in for this broadcast from VERZILLION Zimizoom in ALBERTAZONE. What I call it is ALBERTAZONE, ZIMI-LAND, Canada. I am the homeowner, land property dude here. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah. A little feedback. Hendrix. Heinrich Hendrickson. That's freestyle skier or something like that. Heinrich Hendrickson or something like that. The only dreadlocked professional skier, freestyler, slow styler. I see if I can do this song again. I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. Silly story of the day, you got away. Silly story of the day, and you got away. I'm silly stray of the day, you got away. Silly song of the day, you got away. Taking tokes and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you and me. You and me. You and me. Taking talks and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you and me. You and me. You and me. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. See you, I'm stressed by you, I need you, babe. Taking talks and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you and me. Taking tokes and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you and me. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, stressed by you, I need you, babe. Silly stray of the day, it got away. Silly song of the day, it gone astray. Silly song of the day, and it got away. Silly stray of the day, and it got away from me, away from me, away from me, away from me. Taking talks and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you and you and me. Don't quit me. Double smoke, taking talks with my baby. And I'll put down the cigarettes and watching TV. The thing I miss most right now is watching horror movies. Sitting on the couch, holding each other, taking turns and making out. Let's get paid to make out. Let's make up and fuck. Come on, baby, what's up? You're alive now. You almost died so many times. I drove back the whole country to get you back in my life. You were mine, coming along wife. I'll love you for the rest of my life. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. I see you, I'm stressed by you, but I need you, babe. Silly story of the day and it got away. Silly song of the day and it got away. Silly story of the day and it got away from me. Away from me. Taking tokes and I'm done with smokes. My brain is busy thinking of you. Thank you, Nikki Tornado, for those beautiful, beautiful lyrics you wrote. I have a different chord progression written for it, but I don't remember how it went. But it was G, A, and this is B. But B major there is pretty weird. C to B. So it's another cool progression that's here as well. But it's gotta be a different song. Maybe that was your chord progression, because that is so not one of my chord progressions, because I would almost always make that a B minor to keep it in the normal key. So I think that is one of your chord progressions there, Nikki. So check this one out if you ever see this video, and please rewrite us a track with this progression. Yeah, it's gotta be your chord progression. I wrote it down though. It's definitely my handwriting for that one. With the title I Need You. So this is a really cool little thickened tidbit of your love. So thank you so much, Nikki, for writing down these little 6 or 7 lines of lyrics. See, I would normally put a B minor. So if I had written it, that's how it would have sounded. So it's gotta be her chord progression. Sweet. I'm gonna love you so pure like the honeybees. So where did I want to start with that one yesterday? This is called I'm in Love with You, My Best Friend. I'm doing several remixes. I think I can get my buddy Adam, my new friend Adam. I'm like, I think I want you to program beats for this track. One, two. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, don't wanna fake it. I'm in love with you, I wanna make it. I'm gonna love you so pure like the honeybees, making this excited cold and the honey so sweet. They do their waggle and dance to communicate. I see your hips move now, baby, rotate. I see your hips move now, baby, rotate. I see your hips move now, baby, rotate. I see your waggling dance, I'm gonna follow you to the flowers of romance in my heart is so true. I'm gonna love you right now, even if I am a clown. I'm gonna love each other so bad. And then where do I want to jump? And then maybe I want to jump to the very start there, which is falling for you in a minute or two. Falling for you so bad. Falling for you in a minute or two. Falling for you now I'm sad. If I can't have you, can I have true love? If I can't have you, will I have anything at all? All I want is you now, I feel so blue. All I want is you so bad. Now that I see you, I'm in love, I'm in love. Now I want you so bad. Now I see you, I'm in love, I'm in love. If I don't, then I'll always be sad. Sad. I wanna give you my heart, but you take it away. I wanna give you my heart so bad. I know you've been hurt before, I don't wanna be there. I just wanna love you so bad. So just open your heart and tell all of your walls. I've got the shivers right now. Don't you worry at all. I'm gonna love you so pure. I'm gonna love you for you. Oh baby, I just want you right now. And then I should probably like try to chorus it out with whatever the fuck I started with. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, don't wanna fake it. I'm in love with you, I hope we make it. A sweet love with you in the morning or night, or in the afternoon, sweet delight. Sweet love with you in the morning or night, or in the afternoon, sweet delight. I'm gonna love you so pure, like the honey bee, with the six exotic tones and the honey so sweet. You do the wagon and dance till community. I see your hips move now, baby, rotate. 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 I see your wagon and dance, I'm gonna follow you to the flowers of romance in my heart. It's so true, I'm gonna follow you in the middle of two. I get in love with you right now. Forever is a long time, but life goes really fast. I don't wanna miss you all that 60 years. Just get on, don't hit on the brakes. What is let's hit on the gas, don't hit the brakes too much. Let's go fast forward, my love. Let's go fast forward, don't rewind in the past. We're not going that way, don't hurry on it. We go together now and move up and down. We're gonna travel together right now. Past doesn't exist, it is gone again. I don't wanna be just friends. The past doesn't exist, it is gone again. I don't wanna be just friends. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. The past doesn't exist, it is gone again. I don't wanna be just friends. Alright, that's for Nikki Tornado and Chloe Love, sweet Chloe Love. And now if I was doing a full set, I would switch to piano. That would be the moment. I'd be like, yes, we're going to the piano. I have yet to find the piano that I like enough for the price.
What's your fear?
My fear is that nothing changes.
Let's have a live resin to quietly.
This is a topic that we all need to confront.
I keep thinking I should record all this multi-track on the computer, but you know what? This is just for you guys on Instagram. Facebook only got a couple of days, and then I don't even know how I got a Facebook jail this time. I really don't know, but because I don't know, it didn't tell me what it was this time, and I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. But I only wanted to be on Facebook for a few days anyway, and just be like, yo guys, if you want to find me, I'm over on Instagram. Not doing the crazy nudity or any of that shit. So come on over to Instagram for all the new music. So Facebook got a little couple days there, but yeah. So these are just all recordings and videos for you guys. Maybe I'll edit it all later and freaking upload it all in bits and pieces. Edit all the songs out. But these are just Instagram albums for you guys and you guys only. Love you guys.
Back towards Galveston, Texas, for this potentially major hurricane that will stay
Fourth wave and it's YouTube as well. I'm building my YouTube empire. Thousands of views, but I need more subscribers, so please subscribe to YouTube/Zimizoom. Thank you.
Humidity levels are dropping
Smash that button, like it. Nikki was always like, we gotta say that to me. We gotta say smash the like button and shit. I'm like, okay, babe, sweet. Yes. Remind me. She's the funnest fucking wife ever. Actually, Leanne Warby was also the funnest wife ever. My high school sweetheart. The first girl I moved in with. She was also the funnest ever. Life of the party. Crazy talented artist. Woo! All right. So thanks you guys for swinging by the Grammar. Got 3 viewers live at the freaking skate park yesterday, which was deadly. This is VERZILLION from Cleveland, and then 2 other people from I'm not even sure where. And then some of the skate park crew tuned into my show last night for some of the new songs. So yeah, deadly good times. I am your hashtag Prime Minister candidate, and I didn't exhale. You know the other politicians? Well, there was a joint going around, but I never inhaled. This one says, this is me with like blue fucking hair, which I've never done. I'd love to have blue hair someday. Maybe once I go fully gray, then I'll start my hair dyeing phase. But this is me, your King of Canada, and your hashtag Prime Minister candidate on the internet now for over 2 years. I didn't exhale. It's like this kid yesterday, he's trying to convince me that he was vaping off his iPhone. He's like, no, I got the new app. You can vape off your iPhone. I just hold it in so long that nothing comes out. He almost had me fooled. I was like, you guys are fucking tricky. You look like you're in like grade 11, but you're going into grade 8. I'm like, what the fuck? My age guessing game has gone awry the last few weeks. My precision was nearly 100% for months and months and months because I love guessing people's ages. And in the last little while, the youth and the teenagers and the 20-somethings have really fucking confused me out here because they have their shit together in way different ways than a lot of the people I know back from BC. So I'm like, whoa, culture shock. I was like, what? You guys are only going into grade 8? Holy fuck. Get away from me. You can't have any of my weed. No way. I thought you were in like grade 11. He's like, I want to try your weed vape. I'm like, have you ever smoked weed before? I'm not your mom or dad. I'm not allowed to give you fucking weed for the first time. Back up. He's like, do a backflip. I'm like, fucking shut up. You aren't doing backflips. I said, give me a trampoline or give me like something to crash into, crash pad or freaking 3 feet of snow. Thank you. And then I will do a flip for you for sure. I probably won't land. I usually hit feet first and then follow my butt. But I gotta do my patented butt saver move. Do the butt saver. Alright, nobody's tuned in yet, but people have been watching these shows. I'm getting quite a few viewers, especially because I only have like a very small amount of followers on my Instagram compared to my 4,300 on Facebook. Sometimes I'm getting just as good numbers over here on Insta, so I'm glad I'm building up the IGTV, and I love how Instagram allows you to put it all into series. That's super cool. I really like that, and yeah. And it's really fun filming in vertical because I almost always film horizontal. So thank you, Insta, for just shifting my whole reality, helping me get back to more teenage friendly and sort of all ages. Do some all ages broadcast at some point. But I've got potty mouth.
Justin Trudeau picked Ontario, a province whose premier is opposed to vaccine passports, to promise if re-elected he would commit $1 billion.
Why the fuck is BC doing vaccine passports? I thought BC was cooler than that.
I certainly hope that here in Ontario, Premier Ford steps up as well. It's time for him to listen to public health.
But Trudeau held his event in a small restaurant with no 2-meter
fucking Ontario's conservative, isn't it?
Were touching at times. That seems to flout Ontario's COVID policies. Trudeau was asked twice whether he was breaking the rules. He evaded the questions, only saying he would always follow public health guidelines. Abigail Beeman, Global News, Mississauga,
Public
Ontario.
health guidelines, yeah. But informed consent, you guys need to put that into your news broadcast. Informed consent.
The NDP believes pharmacare is a key issue that differentiates them from their liberal and conservative opponents. There's a lot of issues in this campaign where all three parties.
Why are we having an election right now? Fuck. I guess it's gonna be good, but Trudeau. What the fuck, man?
But when it comes to pharmacare, NDP leader Chuck Singh believes his party is far.
I mean, he might do a better job, but I don't know if he'll ever get in. Jackmead seems pretty cool. I do like a lot of what Jackmead says, but the NDP completely fucked up BC, so I don't have a lot of faith in the party, but I like Jackmead. He's pretty fucking cool. I almost got him at the smoke shop on one of these vape thingies. I should have. You got Jackmead paraphernalia? That's fucking heavy. Looking at Jackmead in his turban when you're getting stoned is so fucking hilarious. In that one interview where he took his long hair down, he's got fucking hair down to his ass almost.
Still, Chuck Singh says universal pharmacare is one of his party's signature platform policies. David, over to you. Under Bay, Ontario. The opposition has been criticizing the Trudeau Liberals about their response to the crisis in Afghanistan. But on the campaign trail in Newfoundland, Michael Couture asked the Conservative Party
Newfoundland
how he would have handled things differently.
Reporters have been pressing Aaron O'Toole to present his plan to help the people of Afghanistan. He's given few details. That was until Thursday evening.
Like all Canadians, I've been watching with dread as the crisis has unfolded in Afghanistan.
He released a pre-recorded video on Twitter saying he'd have a three-part plan, including working with our allies to help anyone trying to flee the Taliban,
That's a good
working
joke.
with neighboring
Well, that's my
countries
first
like India to
concentrate
safe
joke.
refugee corridors, and lastly,
Ugh.
provide political and
Ugh.
material support
Yeah,
to
that's some
Afghans
good shit.
resisting
Good buds,
the
Brad.
Taliban.
That's fucking amazing.
What material support? Say whether or not weapons.
That's getting that is not meant to be offensive.
What kind is that again? It's really good.
Intelligence to help isolate and keep the
Good
Taliban
buds,
away
mango.
from areas where
Good
they
buds, mango
O'Toole
taffy.
pointed to
Thank
Canada's
you,
experience in helping
Trudeau,
Ukraine, where
for
our
legalizing
government
cannabis.
intelligence
We fucked our medical cannabis system up pretty good,
went
but
to global news.
whatevs.
Land in Labrador.
We'll get over it.
Several Gulf Coast states are preparing for severe weather as Tropical Storm Ida barrels toward the southern U.S.
I feel like I need
Forecasters
Timmy's.
are warning
Oh
it
my
could rapidly
god.
strengthen into one of the strongest
I don't
storms
feel like
of the Atlantic
cooking.
hurricane season.
I should make pancakes or something.
In New Orleans, the message from city leaders is clear.
This is the time to take action.
As Ida approaches the Gulf of Mexico, people across the Gulf Coast are scrambling to get ready.
I just enough Sam's to buy some water and you want to look at a generator.
It's fun chord progression.
You're hoping that you're gonna be live, but
One day after Canada announced its evacuation mission in Afghanistan, flights are resuming US President Joe Biden is rallying after terror attacks including 13 US troops. Health Canada has authorized the use of Moderna vaccine for children between the ages of 9 and 18. So far. And the university is getting ready to pay the A Toronto-based robotics company is trying to make life easier for everyone, one step at a time. Meet the robotic stair climbing assistant built by XOXO. This robot has responded to climbing up and down stairs.
Alright, that was another version of a track, instrumental track, Sweet Chloe by Magdalene, something like that. It's a work in progress. I lost the first video of that. That has a whole new section though that I just wrote today. All this part, oops, shit balls. All this part's brand new today. I wrote that right before you turned in, James 007. I got to get going. I'm gonna head to the skate park. Sick, I might come to the skate park today too, bro. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just still having coffee and breakfast. Stayed up late, slept in a little bit. Having a good day. Thanks so much for tuning in. The other one I'm working on here is I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. The past doesn't exist, it is gone. I don't wanna be just friends. Falling for you in a minute or two. Falling for you so bad. Falling for you in a minute or two. Falling for you now and sad. If I knew everything I have to, if I can't do, will I have anything at all? All I want is you now, I feel so blue. All I want is you so bad. I see you, I'm in love. Now I want you so bad. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, my best friend. I'm in love with you, I wanna take it. I'm in love with you, don't wanna take it. Cause we love with you in the morning or night, or in the afternoon, sweet delight. All right, thanks to James, Jamos 007. Take care, brother. We'll maybe see you at the skate park in a bit. Alright, that was sick.
Beautiful conditions, probably the best place in the entire country.
Beautiful conditions in the Maritimes.
Canada, Newfoundland, 16 degrees there.
Alrighty, kids. It would be fun to go for a shred of the old skate park. Oh yeah. Looks like a nice day. Not too hot, not too cold, not too big, not too small, just the size of
So
Montreal.
let's take a look now at the latest COVID-19 numbers, starting in Ontario, where 781 new cases are being reported, 485 of which are among the unvaccinated population. 158 patients are in the ICU. The death toll has risen by 17. However, the Ministry of Health says 14 of those deaths occurred more than 2 months ago. 3 of the deaths are new, and test positivity is up to 3%. Quebec is reporting 612 new cases today with no virus-related deaths. 126 people are currently in hospital, 36 of whom are in the ICU. And staying in Quebec, healthcare workers are being told they have to get vaccinated or risk being reassigned or suspended without pay. Employees in both the public and private health system will have until mid-October to get both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. And Raquel Fletcher joins us now from Quebec City. Hi, Raquel. So this has become a big debate in the province.
There's like 3 of you guys.
Hi, Candace. Absolutely. It's become a big debate. Health Minister Christian Dubé confirmed yesterday for us
Great. Well, thanks for tuning in to the show, you guys. I'll catch you later. Maybe catch you at the scoop. Have a great day, you guys, from VERZILLION, Canada. This is Jimmy Shark by Lewis and the Kindness of Strangers.
As well as healthcare employees themselves. He says the system is already stretched to its limits. It simply can't afford to lose more staff to illness. Of course, there's a flip side to this issue, Candace, and that's that making vaccination mandatory might cause some employees to quit their jobs. Others may be suspended for refusing, and that could lead to canceled surgeries and other service disruptions. The directive applies to all healthcare workers who are in contact with patients for longer than 15 minutes. The government is currently holding 2 days of committee hearings on this issue. The opposition, the Liberal Party, is calling to make vaccination mandatory for all public sector workers. And we heard from the Premier, who has said for now his government has no plans to make vaccination mandatory for teachers or other government employees. But when it comes to the private sector, he says now that's up to employers themselves.
If you decide to fire an employee, was your request reasonable or not? So it has to be studied one by one. So that's why I say I will let the employers decide what they'll do. But of course, the law will apply.
But in some cases, it might be reasonable to fire that person. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
course, it goes without saying that not everyone agrees with the Premier on this issue. We're particularly hearing from unions who say firing employees for not getting vaccinated is a bad idea. Candice?
Okay, thank you. That's Raquel Fletcher reporting. As businesses look to return to pre-pandemic sales levels, more and more companies are finding creative but questionable ways to push their employees to get vaccinated. And for those who have just started heading back to the office, it is now more important than ever for working parents to know their rights as schools reopen. For more insight, we're joined by employment lawyer Lior Samfiru. Good morning, Lior. Let's dive right in with Air Canada announcing that unvaccinated employees could face termination if they don't get the shots by the end of October. They're not the only ones to roll out a policy like this, but what stands out is that they're not accommodating testing as an alternative. How concerning is this for you, especially from a human rights perspective?
Well, Candice, this has to go back to the federal government's mandate that they're announced that they're going to impose with respect to those working in the transportation sector. The federal government has said that they're going to require those in that sector to be vaccinated, but they haven't gone as far as to say that those that do not get vaccinated are going to lose their job. I think what Air Canada has done is jump the gun perhaps a bit and impose that requirement that people will lose their job. And absent a clear mandate from the federal government, that can well be discriminatory. That can well be a human rights violation if you're not allowing other people that are not vaccinated to have those COVID tests. So we would have to wait and see when and if the federal government properly and in writing announces its mandate. But I do caution other employers from taking the cue from Air Canada and all of a sudden imposing these mandatory vaccine policies with a termination as a consequence.
And let's head south of the border, where Delta Airlines in the United States has announced they'll be deducting a $200 surcharge from employees' paychecks to put towards the company's health plan. From a legal standpoint, what's your take on this? I wonder, do you think that action could be seen north of the border, and is that discriminatory as well?
Well, we've talked a lot about mandatory vaccines. I think this is another way to make vaccines somewhat mandatory by imposing this penalty that many employees will not be able to pay and feel then compelled to get the vaccine. The reality is that this could well be discrimination on what we call perceived disability. The idea, of course, being that those who may have a medical condition will be treated differently, will be made to pay more, will also not get paid leave from Delta. Yes, I do consider that to be discriminatory. We haven't seen yet companies in Canada applying this approach, and I would certainly caution them from doing so. I would be hard-pressed to see how that would not be considered discrimination and a human rights violation.
Okay, let's talk about working parents now, with schools reopening in many regions in less than 2 weeks. But there are a lot of workplaces asking employees to return to the office physically. So if there's a school outbreak, what's the best way for employees to approach their managers about staying home from work or returning to working from home?
So the good and the bad thing here is that because we've been living with COVID-19 for the last year and a half, both employers and employees are used to this idea that employees may have to work from home. Schools have opened and closed numerous times over the past year and a half. So I don't think employees should fear the idea of having to speak to their boss, to their manager, but needing to stay at home. Make sure that the boss understands that this has to do with COVID-19, that if there's a closure, it's not a decision that you're making to stay home, it's a necessity. I think a lot of employers, managers are being understanding, receptive, and accommodating. So you should not have that fear or be concerned about a stigma if you do have to stay home with your children.
And finally, what do you think the top 3 rights working parents should be aware of as kids return to school?
Well, the first thing you have to remember is you do have the right to stay home with your child in a job-protected leave if your child is sick, has COVID, or has to isolate. You have that legal right. The second right, you have the right to stay at home if there's no childcare, if the school is closed, if the daycare is closed. Again, a job-protected leave. And finally, if you do have to stay at home and you are able to work from home, and your employer may have the obligation to provide that accommodation, to accommodate you by allowing you to work from home. Those are important rights that employees have.
Okay, thank you as always for your insight. That's employment employment lawyer, Lior Samfiru. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
The town of Lytton, BC likes to call itself Canada's hotspot, but what happened this summer was off the charts. An inferno erased the community in just a few hours, and now dozens of families have no homes to go back to. Robin Gill reports.
Nikki Weston James was a medic during the Vietnam War.
I was in the battlefields of Vietnam. That's worse.
She knows conflict is worse than losing her home, but she faces an uncertain future.
There's nothing I could do because I had no insurance. The whole village is going.
James is one of many left homeless by a fire that destroyed the village of Lytton, BC in June. At first, hotels were offering up accommodation, but with more evacuations in the province, there's just no room at the inn, and it's frustrating.
It's almost 2 months of not being in your home. How are you existing?
Well, from the goodwill of other people.
John Hogan is the deputy chief of the Lytton First Nation. He's homeless himself, relying on friends, but he's trying to find accommodation for those who need help.
They don't have that solid ground that you're going to have your own key to get in a place to lay your head down.
Not only have homes been destroyed, the infrastructure is unstable. It'll take at least a year before the basics are in place. Then the rebuilding of homes will begin.
We're working every day to get the temporary housing in place.
That still leaves this 76-year-old in limbo, and not a day goes by that she doesn't think about that fire and the loss of her home.
Everything I had was in there.
She's staying with family for now, but one day she's hopeful she'll return to the place where she grew up. Robin Gill, Global News, Lillooet, BC.
What are you doing?
Phone bill's too high. Can't afford spin, so being resourceful.
Everyone knows you can add Shaw Mobile to your internet to save hundreds. Why not just ride your bike?
Huh.
Add Shaw Mobile, save hundreds.
Good work, big one.
Your favorite shows return this fall on Global.
Oh, yeah. I got you. We do this. Do it the right way. I do.
He's not done killing for you.
All hell breaks loose. No one messes with my family.
Returning this fall.
That's good.
Let's move. This fall.
We're gonna get out of here together. Are you with me?
911 returns with an epic new season.
All you gotta do is hang on.
I've got a tech tip for you. Offering virtual sessions with health services covered by provincial health plans, the free TELUS Health MyCare app will connect you with a local physician, mental health counselor, or dietitian to take preventive steps and make the best lifestyle choices. The app can gather health data from all your fitness gadgets, manage your prescriptions, and perform an assessment to identify important risk factors.
Several Gulf Coast states are preparing for severe weather as Tropical Storm Ida barrels toward the southern U.S. Forecasters are warning it could rapidly strengthen into one of the strongest storms of the Atlantic hurricane season. Chris Pallone reports.
In New Orleans, the message from city leaders is clear.
This is the time to take action.
As Ida approaches the Gulf of Mexico, people across the Gulf Coast are scrambling to get ready.
I just left Sam's to buy some water, and we're going to look at a generator.
The storm expected to strengthen into a major hurricane in the next day or so before making landfall Sunday, which happens to be the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina.
We lost a lot of good people during Katrina, man. That was a hard storm. Hopefully this one isn't nearly as impactful.
Forecasters say there will be life-threatening storm surge along the Louisiana coast, and some areas could get 20 inches of rain. Winds at landfall could be in excess of 120 miles per hour. All eyes will be on the levees and pumps, which keep New Orleans dry. In Iberia Parish, west of New Orleans, they're expecting the worst.
It's not a question of if it's going to hit you and wipe out everything you got. It's when. You know, it's like gambling in the casino.
While some plan to head to higher ground, others are clearing out catch basins and shopping for supplies, hoping to ride it out.
a lot of water, potted meat, stuff that they don't have to cook. Seeing that a lot of people's going to electrical.
4 powerful storms battered Louisiana last year. Now, Ida is on its way. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Michael Bublé is the latest performer to announce COVID-19 vaccination requirements for his next concert tour. The Canadian crooner is about to set off on a 2-month tour of the U.S. before heading to South America. Bublé announced Thursday that for all of his U.S. shows, attendees will have to prove they're fully vaccinated at least 2 weeks before the concert or provide a negative COVID test 72 hours before. Bublé says the conditions were put in place by the promoters and show venues. New Zealand's Prime Minister is easing restrictions following a short nationwide lockdown. As of next Tuesday, all regions other than Auckland and Northland will be allowed to resume some activities. That includes contactless service and takeout orders. However, for the time being, schools and dine-in restaurants will remain closed. Jacinda Ardern says Auckland and Northland will remain under a full lockdown for another 2 weeks. The University of Chile has held one of the country's first indoor concerts amid the pandemic. It has done so after implementing numerous safety protocols aimed at limiting virus transmission. Organizers say the event took place in a venue with a high-end ventilation system and enhanced sanitation requirements. In addition, the volunteers who attended were required to take a PCR test. If the event doesn't lead to infections, researchers say it could be used as a model to reintroduce larger-scale live performances in the country. A request for parole by Norwegian mass killer Anders Breivik will be heard by a Norwegian court. Breivik detonated a car bomb outside the Prime Minister's office in Oslo a decade ago, killing 8 people. He then drove to Utøya Island, where he killed 69 others at a youth camp. Breivik is serving Norway's maximum sentence of 21 years. That term can be extended indefinitely, but convicts can also seek parole after serving the first 10 years. A date for the hearing has not been set. Residents of Crimea and tourists are now having to compete with swarms of jellyfish for a spot under the sun. Thousands of jellyfish washed up on the shore of a popular beach. The rise in their population is caused by warm and dry weather that has been stable in the region over the recent years. 2 species live in the seas near Crimea, but neither are life-threatening for humans.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching Global News on this Friday, August the 27th. I'm Candace Daniel, and here are the top stories we're following. U.S. President Joe Biden is promising swift revenge following Thursday's terror attack in Afghanistan. More than 100 people were killed, including at least 13 U.S. service members. Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine gets Health Canada's approval for kids over the age of 12. And NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is emerging as the most likable leader in the federal election. That's according to a new Ipsos poll. We want to get started today in the small town of Wheatley, Ontario, near Windsor, where an explosion has leveled part of the downtown, destroying 2 buildings and leaving 3 people injured. Emergency crews were first called to the area of Erie Street and Talbot Road yesterday afternoon at around 4:30, when monitoring devices indicated an increased presence of gas, triggering a small evacuation. Officials say the blast occurred when a wider evacuation began roughly 2 hours later. 3 people were treated by paramedics for non-life-threatening injuries. Homes and businesses in the area have been evacuated, and a shelter has been set up for displaced residents at Wheatley Arena. Canada's immigration minister says the country will continue to support Afghan and Canadian nationals despite ending its evacuation efforts in Afghanistan.
My direct message to you is that we are going to continue to exhaust every effort to reunite you with your loved ones. Because even though the military evacuation may have ended, there is no end to our commitment to you, to your families, and to the people of Afghanistan.
Marco Mendicino says Canada airlifted around 3,700 people from Afghanistan. He says 500 seats were also secured on a U.S. plane. More than 100 people were killed in the attacks, including at least 13 U.S. service members. Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
The flag at the White House is at half-staff in honor of the U.S. service members killed in a suicide bombing outside the Kabul airport.
We appreciate your thoughts and prayers for all of our service members who are carrying on this mission today.
The group known as ISIS-K, which counts both the U.S. and Taliban among its enemies, claim responsibility. The bomb killed dozens of Afghans hoping to flee the Taliban, and families mourned as they claimed the bodies today. A Taliban
Forgot about you,
fighter stood
YouTube.
guard outside
Thank
the
you.
gate.
Love you.
Blood-stained
Bye.
walls mark the
God
tragedy.
bless.
On the other side, flights have resumed as the U.S. tries to